I'm Dr. Kristen R. Bromley. This Guitar 101 series, which is part of my online music academy, is a beginner through intermediate level guitar course similar to the in-person ones I teach at the university. The course progresses from complete beginner through gaining capability in playing songs in various styles and covers playing chords and melodies and reading chord symbols, tablature, and standard music notation. With the Guitar 101 course, we use 3 of the books from my method book series: Chords and Harmony books 1 and 2, Note Reading books 1 and 2, and Tablature, which are all available for purchase through Amazon and Google Play. Links can be found in the description below or at kristenbromley.com. You are of course welcome to participate in this course with or without the books, but with the books you can play right along with me on all the songs and exercises as intended. Plus, each book comes with exclusive access to additional hours of in-depth video lessons that go with each part of that book. If you find this Guitar 101 series helpful, please like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Alright, let's get to jamming in this week's lesson. Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. I'm so delighted to be here working with you on playing the guitar. So this is lesson 27 of the Guitar 101 series, which is the second to last lesson. It's quite a ways that we've made since lesson 1. It's pretty awesome. In this lesson, we're going to work more with the strumming that involves alternate bass plucks. I'll also introduce a little with bass note runs. That sort of thing, which will be fun. We'll do a little bit of review of the fingerpicking pattern that I introduced in lesson 26. We'll also work more with the jazz chords. So we started learning in the last lesson major 7ths and minor 7ths and dominant 7ths that are movable. We're going to take our dominant 7th chords today and put 13ths on them or 9ths on them. So add some colors. We'll also learn how to do that with the major chords and the minor chords. But we're especially going to focus with it on the dominant chords. So that will be kind of fun and exciting. We just get some really great sounds. Of course, in the tablature, we're going to continue working on moving up the neck. And in the note reading, we're going to work on the key of B flat or G minor. So 2 flats today. Great things to do. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off here with the chords and the bass note plucking. So we're going to be on pages 88, 89, and 90. I'm especially turned to page 90, but if you need to look at page 89 to see how to alternate those bass strings, if you need a review, those diagrams can be helpful. If you need to review the 2 strumming patterns we have, one is bass down, alternate bass down, alternate bass, or the second one we can add the up strum. So those are the strumming patterns we're using. You can review those on pages 88 and 89. But on page 90, we start seeing how to do bass note runs. And I just want to introduce this here so that when we play these songs that we're going to play today that are familiar, you can throw them in if you'd like to. So basically, on page 90, there's some examples here. Uses tablature. The rhythmic notation just means that that's where we're strumming, and it just shows a quarter note. You can do a quarter note or you can do the down, up. But we strum a chord, and then we have a 2-beat walk on beats 3 and 4, and then we do a bass pluck, and then the strum of the next chord. So that's how they all work. On beat 1 we pluck the bass note. On beat 2 we do a strum, either a quarter note down or a down up at the 8th note speed, and then on beats 3 and 4 we do 2 notes that walk up to the root of the next chord where we do the strum. And we could continue on. So we could look at each one of these. Number 1 and number 4. Number 1 shows you how to go from A to D. Number 4 shows D to A. Number 2 shows A to E. Number 5 shows E to A. So they're just right on top of each other. Number 3 goes E to B7. Number 6 goes B7 to E. Number 7 and 10, D to G, G to D. 8 and 11, C to G, G to C. And 9 and 12, C to F, F to C. So those are written there. They work great. I'm just going to sort of show a principle that will kind of help us as we play these. Our E chord, A chord, and D chords are all similarly made, where they have the low string that's open. Their lowest bass string is open. on these ones, on that open string, to go to a higher chord, so like from E to A. Yeah, sorry, I gotta actually play an E. I played the A. When we're going from E to A, we can go 2, 4 on that string and then go to the A. So E, 2, 4 on the E string or the 6th string to the A. If we want to, and we often go E to A, so we often go from one of the chords where we have the open string to the next chord with the open string. That happens all the time. We go from E to A quite frequently. So A to D works the same way. On that 5th string, I pluck it open and then 2, 4, open D. So A, 2, 4, open D. It's the same thing. Up to the D. If we wanted to go in reverse from D to A, then we just go backwards on that same open string. So we have D, 4, 2, A. So D, 4, 2, A. D, 4, 2, A. If we're going A down to E, 4, 2, E. A, 4, 2, E. And that all happens on the E string. Now really, what we can do is, even if we're approaching it from another chord, we can do all these this way. So if we're going to an A chord, and we're going from somewhere that we don't normally go from, let's say G, that's something strange, to an A, we technically could go 2, 4, A. So we could have G. We can always approach A with 2, 4. Just goes right up the A scale, actually. It's step 6, 7, root. That's why that works. So if I was going there from a B7, I can get there. If I was going from an F, anything weird, I can actually do it that way. I can also approach the A chord going 4, 2 on the A string itself. So you can approach from higher going down, because it goes step 3, 2, 1. So just scale runs. So I can always approach that A chord, no matter where I'm coming from really, by coming up from the E string 2, 4, A, or I can go down 4, 2, A. So then for the D, I can always approach it going 2, 4 on the string that's lower than it, so the 5th string. Approach that open D from the string that's below it, 2, 4, open. And I can always approach the D from the D string itself going 4, 2, open, so it comes from above. So if I was going G, 4, 2, D, I can do that sort of thing. That's for the E, A, and B7, or E, A, and D, sorry. D7, A7, and E7, they all work the same. It doesn't matter whether it's dominant or just major. Now the E, I can always approach that E from 4, 2, open on the E string. So they all kind of follow that pattern, which is pretty cool. Now, if we look at like C, and G, and F, so these ones that have a finger on, well, when you're moving to them, you can use the finger with the root. So the finger with the string with the root, you can go O, 2, 3, so O, 2, 3, I can approach that G from O, 2, 3, I can approach the C from that. I can approach the C coming in O, 2, 3 on the 5th string, because that's where my root is. So if I was going from G up to C, I can do that. Now if I was going from going to F, I can, on the same string as that root, which is the 4th string, I can go O, 2, 3, O, 2, 3, I can go there. So if I want to go down, instead of coming below the root and coming up to it, the way we do it for those 3 chords is going to start on the string that's higher. It actually starts where that 3rd of the chord is, 2 open down to the root. So if I want to approach G, I'm on the 5th string, 2 open, then I'm down to the G, 2 open G, same thing for C. I do the 2nd fret, which is my 3rd, but the 2nd fret off the 4th string, 2, open, then I'm down to the C. And if I'm on the F and I need to approach it, and I want to approach it from higher, I can approach it from the 3rd string. 2, open, F, 2, open, F. So for those 3 chords, I can always approach them 0, 2, 3, or from the higher string, 2, open, 3. So that's G, C, and F. And then B7 is kind of an interesting one because it's got the flatted 7th. So you could use the natural and do a little chromatic, or you can use the flatted 7th. So to approach it from below, we're going to 4th fret of the 6th string, and then the 1st fret of the 5th string brings you right up to that. It's kind of nice, awkward little walk up. Coming down to it, we'd have the 3rd. That's probably the easiest one, really. 1st fret on the 4th string, 4th fret on the 5th string, down to that root. Okay, let's go ahead and try playing with these and inserting them a little bit into songs. Now, if you want more practice with this, these ones that are written here directly on page 90, there's lots of practice with them with the videos that come with the book. So plenty of opportunities to work with those specifically in a great detail. We'll go ahead though and just use this principle a little bit playing some of these songs. Okay, so let's flip on over to page 18, and we're going to do numbers 2 and 3. We'll practice a little bit with this alternate plucking and throwing in these bass note runs. So with when the saints go marching in, I'm going to use the root to the 3rd. So I'm going 6th string, 5th string, 6th string, 5th string. Now in this one we've got a G going to a D7. So in walking to a D7, we know on that open string where there's the root, I can go 4, 2, open, and strum. I could also potentially on the string that's below it go 2, 4, open. But because it's a D7, I might not really like it as much. I might like it if I actually did the C natural. But let's just stick for now to the 4, 2, open. So we'll just do that one. So it's going to be G to the D7, just like so. G to the D7. That's how that'll go. Going back to G is 2, open G. You can just do 2, open G, or O, 2, G. But I'm going to go 2, open G, and go down. So from the 5th string, 2nd fret, open to the G. So if we practice just going back and forth to the D7, back to G. Just go back and forth to the D7, to the G, to the D7. Walk-ups happen in the measure right before the chord change. So in here we have a G to a D7 to a G. We also have C to G, or G to C to G, I should say. So if we practice between G and C, this is a really natural one. We got the G, and we know walking up to C, we can go open 2, 3 on the string that has the root. So G, open 2, C. So you got G, O, 2, 3, G, O, 2, 3, and going back to G is just the opposite, 2, O, 3. So if we go back and forth between those two, you got G, up to C, back to G, So now when we play this and there's only one bar, like G to D7 in the next bar to G, like there is in the last 4 bars of this song, it's kind of fast to do the bass runs, so we're not going to worry about those, and usually in a song we don't do them everywhere we can put them in. But with When the Saints Go Marching In, we want to try and put them in everywhere that we can before that, so it's going to happen in the measure before the chord changes. So in the second line of When the Saints Go Marching in the second measure, that's the measure before the chord change. So I would have bass, strum, then my walk to the next one, and I'm in. So bass, strum to my next chord. And then I have a bar of D7 and then back to G. That's how that works. Then I have a bar of G, and then I'm up to C, and then I'm back to G, D7, and G. Unless you wanted to actually just... There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a sort of a choice. You get to choose where you want to throw them in. Okay, so let's try applying this now to When the Saints Go Marching In as it's written. Now I'm going to just mention that we don't always do walk-ups to the dominant 7th chords. That's one of the places we sometimes leave them out. They don't always sound good with what's happening with the melody, but a lot of times we'll walk back. So I'll just kind of leave it to your discretion. I may throw them in, I may leave them out sometimes. But from the G to the C, those are great places to throw them in. When we're actually playing music, it doesn't happen that they get thrown in every place that's possible. They just kind of get thrown in where desired. So I won't always throw the one into the D7, and you can choose what you'd like to do. Okay, so here you go. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. How I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching. Okay, kind of fun. Now as we go forward, I'm not going to specify which alternate bass to use either. You just use whichever one you want, and I'll pick one as well. We're going to focus on some of these walks. So let's do Red River Valley with the same kind of thing. So 1, 2, from this valley they say you are going. I will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile, for they say you are taking the sunshine that has brightened our path for a while. Okay, let's take a look at some more. So page 31, we'll look at numbers 6 and 7. So this has A and E7 and D, those 3 chords. Going from E7 back to A, we know that 2-4-A will sound good. So E7, 2-4-A. We're not going to worry about going from A to E7 because it's a dominant 7th chord, and it doesn't always sound as good. Though walking down to the E7 actually does sometimes sound good. So I guess we can practice back and forth, and then in the song you can decide. So A, as we're doing the A, if we go to E7, we're going to go 4 to E. And going E7 back to A, we're going to go the opposite. 4 to A. So if we go back and forth, it'll be like A, down to E7 or E, back to A. Just practice that a little bit. Back to E7, back to A, back to E7, back to A, back to E7, back to A to D and D to A, they happen on the, up to that D, where it all happens on the A string. And then back to A is the same. It's that opposite. So let's go back and forth between A and D. Here you go. A, up to D, back to A, back to D, back to A, back to D, back to A, back to D. Okay, let's try these songs here. She'll be coming around the mountain, and then Tom Dooley. You can throw them in where you'd like. You don't have to do it everywhere, but catch them where you can, and I'll throw some in as well. I'll for sure throw one in going A on that third line up to the D. And then I'll for sure throw it in going back to the A. But I won't do it at the end. And I probably, in that second line, will throw one in going down to the E7. And I'll throw one in going back to the A. Probably. We'll see. All that singing and thinking at the same time. She'll be, so here you go. 1, 2. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. Super fun. Tom Dooley doesn't have a D, so you just get the choice of going between A and E7. So hang down. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, ready, and hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die. I met her on the mountain. Was there I took her life. I met her on the mountain. Stabbed her with my knife. Should have put the whole song in the book, because that's always a bad place to end right there. The big climax and no finish. Okay, so that's those two. Let's go ahead and look at page 36, and we'll do number 5. With this one, Camptown Races, we have between D and A7. So D down to A7, like to do, and back to D is the same as D to A, which we were just doing. The big one that's different in here is D to the G. So with D, you have two choices going to G. You can do on the 5th string 2 open, then down to the G, or on the 6th string you can go O to G. Either one, they both work. And then going to the D, we know 4 to D or 2 4 D. Now going from G to D, there's only one measure there, so we're not going to be throwing it in unless you just are going to do it quick like. But D to A7 we do have chances to do in here. Okay, let's try it out here. 1, 2, I want to ready, and Camptown ladies sing this song. Doo-da, doo-da. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long. Oh, the doo-da day. Come down here with my hat caved in. Doo-da, doo-da. Going back home with the pocket poles in. Oh, the doo-da day. Going to run all night. Going to run all day. I bet my money on a bobtail nag. Somebody bet on the bay. Not a lot of great places to throw them in there, but occasionally at least down to that A7. It's there. Good practice though. Okay, so let's go on to page 43. We'll do number 7. Polly Wally Doodle. This will give us a chance to go between E and B7. walking up to B7, it's a dominant chord. Isn't going to be all that useful. But walking back to E will be nice from the B7. So B7 and 4-2 open to go to that E. Oh, I went down south. A 1, 2, 3. Oh, I went down south for to see myself singing Polly Wolly Doodle all the day. Oh, my Sally is a spunky gal singing Polly Wolly Doodle all the day. Very well, very well, very well, my fairy fay. For I'm going to Louisiana for to see my Susiana singing Polly Wolly Doodle all the day. It's kind of a nice one to have that little walk down there. Okay, so let's look at page 49 now. And we'll do a little practice with C, F, and G. 7. So the C up to the F. 0, 2, 3. And going backwards to open 3. So just like G to C, C to F, and F to C work the same. Let's just practice going back and forth with those. So you got C up to F, back to C, up to F, back to C, up to F, back to C, up to F. Now, we're probably not going to necessarily walk to a G7, but if we did, a great way is to go to open G. Just like the G, you could go to a G7 instead. G7 back to C works the same as G to C. Okay, listen to the, let's try it. About there. 1, 2, ready, and listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, riding through the woodlands to the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. Super fun. Okay, and we'll go over to page 51 and do number 12, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? Using some of these familiar songs that we worked on the alternate plucking with, alternate bass plucking. Okay, let's just try it. 1, 2, will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. So I did throw a little extra one in there with G7, even though I only had the one. Just kind of felt like it. Also, that ending, I doubled up on that 1, 5, 1. Sometimes that happens when we're 1, 5, 1. So we can finish off those last two chords kind of fast like that. It sounds good when we do that. Okay, 52, page 3. We're going to do a little bit of finger picking as we finish off this practice with the chords here at the first part of this lesson. So last time with 3/4 we did a P, A, M, I, M, A. Thumb, ring, middle, index, middle, ring. Thumb, ring, middle, index, middle, ring. We're going to do number 3 on page 52. We're going to treat it as if it's in 3/4 even though it's not. So we'll do that pattern once per chord. Like that. 3 and 2 and 1 and... also do the other pattern that we started working on last time. P, M, I, A, P, M, A, I. Thumb, middle, index, ring, thumb, middle, ring, index. Just kind of warm up on that one. We'll do it on that same pattern, that same progression. Once per measure. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. Okay, we'll go on and do some note reading now. Okay, so in the notes, we're going to start off on pages 87 and 88. We're working with the key of B flat major today, which is also has a relative key of G minor, but we're mostly going to be playing in B flat. Actually, we're going to only be playing in B flat, really. So we'll go ahead and start with that scale. You'll notice with B flat major, there's 2 flats in the key signature. B flat, so all our B notes will be played as B flat, and then sitting on that space for the E is that flat sign. So all our E pitches will be E flat. The open top string goes to E flat at the 4th fret of the 2nd string. The E that's at the 2nd fret of the 4th string goes down to fret 1 for E flat. The low 6th string, we don't have a place to go, so we don't have an E flat in that range. And then the B flats, you should remember from last time. Let's go ahead and play this B flat major scale, 4 plucks per note, alternating down, up, 1 up, 2 up. Here you go. 1 and 2 and ready and go and B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A, G, F, G, A, and B flat. Let's look at number 2. 1 and 2 and ready and go and B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A, G, F, G, A, B flat. Okay, let's flip over to page 88 and we'll do number 3, 1 pluck per note. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. As we've been doing these scales, you might have started noticing a pattern. We're just playing from the lowest note in the first position to the highest note in the scale that's in first position to the lowest and back. And we do 4 plucks, 2 plucks, 1 pluck. That's a great way to warm up. Memorizing these scales rather than reading them is actually really beneficial. It makes reading the notes and remembering where they are with the sharps and flats in a given key just makes it that much easier. It's a good thing to do. Just a little tidbit there. Let's go ahead and go on over to page 89 and we'll start playing melodies. So we got the Foggy Foggy Do. This one comes in on beat 4 in the pickup measure. I'll give us a 3-beat count in. 1, 2, 3. 3. Okay, let's look at page 91. We'll do number 11. The band played on. This one has a couple of accidentals. So on the 5th line, there's an A flat that we run into for that whole measure. A flat is 1 fret lower than the A, so we're at 1st fret on the 3rd string for the A flat. Then on the 2nd to last line, there in the 3rd measure, we have an F sharp. We've played F sharp before with the keys of G and C, or D, sorry, keys of G and D, and then back when we were working on accidentals. So that one shouldn't be hard to find. 4th fret, 4th string. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. 3, 1, rest. 3. 3, 1, rest. 3, 1, rest. 3, 1, off. Okay, and we'll do one more. Page 94, and it's number 15, Assembly. It's kind of an old hymn tune. Here you go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 3, off. Okay, so in the next lesson, in the last lesson actually in this series, you can see over on the right side there on page 95, we're going to do triplets in 6/8 time. So we're going to get into that a little bit in the next lesson. Okay, let's do some tablature. Okay, so in the tablature, we're going to start off on page 107. We're going to do number 146. With this one, we're going to be reading in the 5th position. Now, as we glance over the first few measures, you can see that the lowest fret that's used is fret 5. So that's where I'm going to put my index finger. That's why we're in 5th position. And then my middle, ring, and pinky continue. This one will not go outside of this position, so we don't have to shift. But if any of the frets that were called for were outside of frets 5, 6, 7, and 8, then we would just shift to adjust and be in a new position, maybe for the rest of the song or until we need to shift again. We don't have any of those that we're worrying about just yet. So, Oh Susanna. The real trick is getting used to reading 5th fret as where our index finger goes. That's just kind of the hardest part about these, I think. But otherwise, they're not too difficult physically compared to anything else we've done. We'll just go ahead and play it. It's in 2/2 time, which is cut time. So I'm going to count it off those if it were in 4/4 time, because at the tempo we're going to play it at, the rhythms are going to look and feel and sound just like 4/4 time. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 2, 3, off. Okay, let's turn the page over to page 108 and 109. We're going to do numbers 147 and 149. Let's do 147 first. We're in 3/4 time, coming in on beat 3. 3, 1, 2. 2 off. Okay, let's do 149, Scarborough Fair. 3, 2, 1. Now, with this one, we suddenly are using fret 4. So, in this one, we do get to practice a little bit of shifting. So, I can play it right there in 5th position, but then I find I gotta go down to 4th position. You also have the choice of playing the whole thing in 4th position. At least those first 4 measures, but then when we get to the 5th measure, we need fret 8, so we have to be back in 5th position. Shift down to the 4th position on that last line, and then we can either stay for that whole line in 4th position, or we can shift back up and then shift back down. So you kind of decide where you want to shift. If you want to play most of it in 5th position and shift down when you have to, that's okay. You might also want to reduce the amount of times you have to shift. It doesn't really matter, but you just find a natural way through it. Here you go. 3, 2, 1. 4th position. 2, 3, rest. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Off we go. Okay, we'll flip on over now and do some of the ones that are in the back. I just will mention again, if you want to go into greater detail with any of these, then just use those videos that come with the book itself. Go into a lot greater detail, a lot of help with the shifting, a lot of help with all of these songs at different tempos. Okay, so we'll go on over to page 132. We're going to do number 179. We did this one last time, but we're going to take it just a little bit faster this time. So, ready and go. That's kind of fun. Hopefully you can get it up there. If that was a challenge, then just keep working on it. And the videos that come with the book do various tempos. We're going to do another new challenge one today, just back a couple pages. Okay, so we'll go over and do, on page 127, we're going to do number 174, Scottish Dance. This is another one of these fun challenge pieces. This one comes from classical repertoire as well. Sort of starts out kind of with little scale ideas around the scale, or the chords in the minor sound, and then we get in some major sounds with some skips around those chords, and then it goes back to the original sound. We'll go ahead and just go for it. Note that there's repeats on those first two lines. We got first and second endings, so you got to watch for that. It's all eighth notes almost entirely, except in the first, second endings, and then at the very end. So we'll just go for it, even though it might not be familiar yet. So I'll give us 1 and 2, and then we come in on the and. 1 and 2. Learning ones like this up to faster speeds, playing them first as slow as you need to play them accurately, and then just gradually working them up, is really great for developing the coordination between the left hand and the right hand. So the picking hand gets way more control and solid, and the left hand gets really good at getting those notes, and we get good tone. It's really great for getting picking out single notes, and even for stuff like the flat picking that we're doing, it really helps with the accuracy of the right hand. Okay, we'll go back to the chords as we finish off this lesson. Okay, so now that we're back in the chords, we're just going to finish off with a little bit of practice with those jazz chords that I started introducing last time. So last time we worked on the major 7th and the minor 7th chords for each of the strings. We also worked on the dominant 7th chords. Today we're going to talk about how we can add 9ths, 11ths, and 13ths to the tops of those chords. So it's kind of like add 9 chords, only instead of just adding the 9th to the triad, we're adding them to the 7th chord. We can also add them to 6 chords. So we started that, we did the major 6 and the minor 6 last time as well. So major 6, minor 6, we can add the 9th to those as well. We're going to start off on page 170. So on page 170, this lesson 24, talks about adding 9ths to the 6th chords and to the 7th chords. So it can be a major chord we can add the 9th to. It can be a minor chord. It can be a dominant 7th chord. So we can add that to any of those chords. So it explains that there, even the minor, major, 9th, which we haven't worked on, explains that there on pages 170 and 171. And then over on page 172, it talks about the 6 chords, the minor 6 chords. I didn't demonstrate that, but we can actually add that to the major 6 and the minor 6 chords as well. So there's an example there. And then we have the movable chord forms. Now we're not going to worry about any of these specifically except the dominant chord, and I'll talk about it in a moment. But you want to learn these chords. They have great sounds. You can use the videos that come with the book specifically to go much more into, you know, greater depths than I am able to here in the Guitar 101 series. But if we look over and continue on, we learn about 11ths and 13ths. So the 11th, let me back up. The 9th is step 2 of the scale up an octave. The 11th is step 4, and the 13th is step 6. So we can see there on page 173 how if you had a 2-octave scale, you could arpeggiate 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and you can stack chords all the way up. With major chords, we usually use an augmented or sharp 11, but the 9th and the 13th are natural. And then with minor chords, we use the natural 11th. That's just because steps 3 and 4, they conflict. They're a half step apart. So if they're in a chord together, it doesn't sound so good. In most contexts. There are times when it works okay, we want a tension like that, but not usually. And then with minor chords, the flatted 3rd and the 4th work well together because they're a whole step apart. So that's why in the major, we go ahead and sharp that 4th. So this works with dominant 7th, it works with major 7th, and it works with minor 7th chords, which is explained there on pages 173 and 174, and the minor major 7th as well. And then we go over to page 175, and there's voicings. So, for example, you can have that major 7th with a sharp 11, or a dominant 7th with a sharp 11, or you could have a major minor 7th with an 11th. These are really kind of, some of them probably sound better to the ears than others. It takes a little while for some of these to get good to the ears, but you can have a 13th in the major or a 13th in the dominant. With that 6-string form, we can have 9ths on top as well. So you got different voicings that can be used here. When a 13th is in the chord, it implies that an 11th and or a 9th could also be there, but they don't necessarily have to be. And when there's an 11th, it could imply that the 9th could be there, though it's not necessarily there in these chord symbols. In the chord symbols themselves, the numbers will replace the 7. So C major 13 or C major 9. C major 7 needs the sharp 11, so it's still C major 7 sharp 11. Or if it was dominant, we'd see C13 or C9 in place of the 7, just to simplify the chord symbol. But we only see those sometimes. A lot of times we might just choose to add those colors for fun, even though all we see is just the chord symbol written at the 7th level. Today, though, we're not even going to get into all that complexity. We're just going to work on adding a 9th to one of our dominant 7th chords and a 13th to the other. So if you look up here on the board, and these are pulled out of these pages in the book, we're going to take our dominant 7th chord. So I'm at B flat here. And instead of having the 5th, which would sit here, we're going to put the 13th in the chord. So the shape, I'm at fret 6 with my index finger. I'm skipping over a string, still at fret 6 with my middle finger, and then fret 7 with my ring, and fret 8 with my pinky, and I'm muting the top string. So boop, 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 boop. And then here with the dominant 7th, we have is for the other string set. So middle, index, ring, and it flattens out. I'm playing it both. Now you can play this top string if you want to, adds the 5th, but I'm sticking just kind of to 4 string. But you can play that one up top, and then the low one isn't played at all. I didn't put X's in, but I could have put a little X here, and then here, and then it's optional. This one right here is optional. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plug these in with the chords that we were using last time. If we flip on over to flip back to page 146 in the book, we're going to be on pages 146 and 147. We'll go to number 2, where we've got these dominant 7th chords. Now we had played either the bar chords or this sort of new kind of jazzier voicing. So now we're going to plug in these 2 new voicings. So off my C, I've got that, this is a dominant 13th. And then I'm going to go to a dominant 9th for the next one. So in jazz, we love throwing a color in, especially on the dominant 7th chords. So I'm using this one off the 6th string and this one off the 5th string. We're just going to go ahead, just try and play along with me on that first voicing. So it'll be a C13. Nice. I assume it's nice. Let's look at like F9 now. So with that one, I use the bar because when we come from the minor to that dominant, that bar is really helpful. So we're looking at the dominant there. Just practice that one so it gets kind of comfortable. Okay, so we'll go ahead and play through this, but 2 times per chord. So 1, 2, ready, and we got the C13 to the F9, to the B flat 13, to the E flat 9, to the A flat 13, to the D flat 9, to the G flat 9, to the B13, to the E9, to the A13, to the D9, to the G13, to the C9. Okay, now what we want to do is go over and do number 5 on page 147. So we're going to plug these chords in for our dominant, our 5 chord. So our 2 and then our 5. So for the D minor 7 to the G9 now to the C major 7 instead of using the other voicing that we were using. So with me, 2, ready, just D minor to the G9 to the C major 7. We're just going to repeat that one over and over. Again, D minor to the G9 to the C major. Again, and D minor to the G9 and then C major. One more time, D minor to the G9 to the C major. Okay, so now we want to work on the other set. So if we start G minor 7, we're going to have C13 to F major 7. So I got G minor, C13 to F major 7. So you got 1, 2, ready, and G minor 7 to the C13 to the F major 7. Let's do it again. G G minor 7 to the C13 to the F major 7. Again, G minor to the C13 to the F major 7. Let's do it one more time. G minor 7 to the C13 to the F major 7. Okay, let's play through number 5 the whole way through that one using those chords in those 2-5-1 progressions. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and... Jumping up high, minor, I'm jumping up higher to the C sharp minor 7. Okay, so that wraps us up for this lesson, which is lesson 27 of the Guitar 101 series. There is one more lesson in this series, which is lesson 28. So in the next lesson, in that final lesson, we'll work more with these chords that we've started working on. Also get into some minor 7 flat 5 and altered dominant chords that happen in minor keys. So that'll be a nice addition. We'll also look at the fully diminished 7th chord that's movable. So that'll be kind of fun. Introduce those chords. We'll continue to work with the tablature and the note reading as well. Continue to work up the neck in the tablature and work those challenge pieces. We're going to work on some new rhythmic things in the note reading. So it's going to be great. I hope you're having a blast playing the guitar. It's a huge accomplishment. If you've come all the way from lesson 1 and if you've just been tuning in and figuring out tidbits too, that's just great. I hope you're applying these skills to learning songs and doing things that you want to do with the guitar. There's no need to worry about the end of the Guitar 101 series. There's plenty of other series to come, and there may already be other series out, as I have focused plans to do things on improvisation and specific things on different styles of playing the guitar, finger style and flat picking and so on, blues. So there's lots of things to come, no worries there, but I'll see you in that final Guitar 101 lesson. So in the next lesson, take care. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.